YouTube. Today we're going to be looking at a Colt Revolver, and what we have here in front of us, we have a vintage original Colt Anaconda chambered in 44 Magnum. And before we get started, I'm going to pick this gun up and show you there's nothing in it, and we are clear to make this video. So full disclosure, this is not my gun. This is a friend of mine's. He let me borrow it to make a video on it, and what this is a Colt Anaconda from the 1990s. It's not to be mistaken with one of the newer release ones they've just recently come out with here in the last few years. This is one of the original ones. Now, these things are very sought after by collectors, and we're going to go into that a little bit. So if you look real close, it says Colt Anaconda on it. That's a little bit different from the newer ones. The newer ones just say Anaconda on it. The roll marks are a little bit different. It has the rampant pony right here on the side plate, and it has gold medallions on a set of Packmeyer grips. On the other side, on the barrel, it says Colt Double Action Revolver and has their patent information down here. The serial numbers are on the inside here of the crane. And so what this is a 6-shot stainless steel 44 Magnum double action revolver. And the little bit of history about these things was Colt never made a 44 Magnum until the year 1990. So in 1955, they released their premium revolver called the Colt Python, and people loved it. The looks of it and the handwork that went into them, the action was like nothing you've ever seen before. But the same year, Smith & Wesson released the Model 29, which was 44 Magnum. That's what year the 44 Magnum came out. And all the people that bought the Colt Pythons always wondered why Colt wouldn't just make one in 44 Magnum, and I wonder that myself. I don't know why they wouldn't offer it also in 44 Magnum, but they never got into the 44 Magnum game. It's one of the many mistakes I think they've made over the years. Well, finally, after many decades, in 1990, I think they were trying to save face. They were in like a strike, labor strike, and they were having financial issues, and to save face, they finally released a 44 Magnum. Now, what they attempted to do is make one look like the Colt Python that was out at the time. So it has the full ventilated rib on top, it has the full underlug underneath it, and it really does have the profile of a Colt Python. It was made in stainless steel only because stainless steel is a lot cheaper to manufacture than have a blued finish gun. And if you're in financial struggles, you're going to figure out how to do it the cheaper way. So this gun came out, and people did buy them, but it wasn't very well received amongst the gun community because people were expecting a Colt Python. Well, it's simply just not plausible to expect a Colt Python for what the price of one of these were. It was a budget gun, and when I say budget gun, we're talking Colt budget. So we're going to look at some of the features of it. If you look up real close on this gun at this trigger, you'll notice this is a casted trigger. It's not very well finished off, and it's casted. Cast parts are a lot cheaper to manufacture. If you look at the hammer, I'm going to try and hold this real slow. If you look right down the center of it, you'll see the cast marks. It has a casted hammer on them. A lot of parts in this thing were casted. These are mass produced, and the only thing about this thing that is related to the Colt Python is the looks. It's the ventilated rib and all that. There's no hand fitting or anything done on this. And if you rub your hands over all this, there's very sharp edges, like right here where this barrel meets the frame. It almost catches your fingernail on it. And I've done a video comparing this, one of these older Anacondas to one of the newer ones, and comparing it to the older Colt Python. I've just never done a video on just one of these older Anacondas. The sights, it has adjustable sights for windage and elevation, and the sights are very nice on it. And the front sight is a red ramp, so it picks up very well for old eyes like me. So where the differences is in the action. The Colt Pythons had what they call a leaf spring action, so it had like a V right here that worked. And I wish I could take this grip off and show you, but YouTube won't allow you to show any kind of internal parts or take anything off of a firearm, so we're not going to do that today. You'll just have to trust me. This gun here was based on the action of at the time of the King Cobra 357 Magnum. It has a coil spring action that goes up in here it will function just fine, but it will not function as smooth as a leaf spring action, their famous leaf spring action. So when you pull this hammer back, you can definitely feel that it's not as smooth as a leaf spring action on it. Still works fine, but it's just not quite as smooth. Now, one of the other things you'll notice when I pull this back and hold this trigger down, I'm going to be quiet for 1 second. I know I like to talk a lot, but if you'll listen, you'll hear the coil spring like unwinding on it. It feels like a real gritty feel to it. So just a completely different kind of action on these things. Now, one of the things that Colt's always been famous for is their bank vault light or lockup on their cylinders. Now, that's mainly with the leaf spring action ones like the Colt Python or the older Troopers or something that uses that kind of action. So I'm going to pull this back and hold this trigger down, and this should be in the locked position. Now, if you take one of the newer leaf spring action revolvers or an older Colt Python with the leaf spring action on it, you will not be able to move this cylinder. This one here, there's a little bit of movement in it, and it's not even close to how the Python actions were. So it doesn't lock up nearly as tight as the Pythons do. So it's just not as well finished off. If you'll notice, I'll try and get some close-ups here. It's got sharp edges on it here and there, and that's because of the cheap labor rate at the time. You know, they were in financial struggles. All their employees were on strike. So, you know, you're not going to get the best people working on these things. As far as the action, it's not as smooth, but the single action is pretty nice on this gun, I must say. But most revolvers do have a pretty nice single action. I would say it's probably about a 4.5 pound pull on the single action. Now, the difference is, and what people look for, where all the money is in a double action revolver, is the double action pull. And folks, I'm going to tell you something. This one's terrible. It must be a 15-pound pull, and it seems like it always locks right there where it's stacked, and it's very hard and very inconsistent, very gritty feeling trigger pull. So if you were going to try and do precision shooting with this thing, it'd be very hard to compare this to one of the newer Colts of today's time. I don't see it. It's got a horrible trigger on it and probably needs some work done on it to free it up a little bit. The looks on it, though, is fantastic. It's a lot beefier frame than like a Smith & Wesson 629 or like a 29. It's got a lot beefier frame on it, but it's not as beefy as the newer Colt Anacondas they just came out with. The frame's a little bit beefier on those. The cylinder is a lot larger on the new Anaconda, so if Colt somehow, some way down the road decide to offer these the Anaconda in a larger caliber, I don't believe they would have a problem. The grips do not interchange with the new Anaconda, because the new Anaconda has the exact same action and frame size right down here as a Colt Python does, and this does not. It's completely different. So because of that lock work on the inside here, so the grips will not interchange. But as far as what I think of this gun, I used to have one a long time ago, and I was like the American public back when these came out. I was very disappointed in it because I was spoiled with the Colt Python action, and when I saw the workmanship that went into this with this casted parts and felt this action in it, I decided it wasn't for me, and I moved on for it. Now, what all people have always wanted was a Colt Python and 44 Magnum, and now you can go buy one. All you got to do is go to any local gun store that stocks Colt firearms, and you can have what everybody's always wanted. And if I was given the choice and set this gun next to a new Colt Anaconda, anybody with an IQ over about 70 that picked them up and handled them for a few minutes could tell that the newer one is the better gun. Now, if you're out there and you're watching this and you own one of these Colt Anacondas, don't think that I'm just completely bashing this gun. It is a good gun. They have greatly improved it, and there are better options out there, better made guns now with the newer Colt revolvers that's been released here in the last few years, and that's just my opinion. And if you pick them them up, you can clearly see which one works smoother, which one's beefier, and which one's better finished off, all that. I encourage you to go look at the video I have comparing this older Colt Anaconda to the newer one and tell me what you think. I also have one that compares it to an older Colt Python. You can see the differences and where your extra money went when you bought one of these things. But anyway, folks, I've rambled on long enough about this Colt Anaconda that came out in 1990, Colt's very first 44 Magnum revolver in double action. This was their big release, and this was what was going to save them, I guess. But let me know what you think about the older Colt Anacondas. If you have one, what you think about the functionality. Tell me what you think about this compared to a newer one. And thank you very much for watching my video today. And you folks have a great day.